Ho, ho, ho! Is this thing on? Mic check. One sleigh, two sleigh. That's right. I've got a podcast now. Stories, jokes, and some serious North Pole nonsense. Santa Has a Podcast is out now at santahasapodcast.com. Ho, ho, ho!
Support American jobs while standing up for your values. OldGloryDepot.com brings you conservative pride on premium, made-in-USA gear. Don't settle. Wear your patriotism proudly. Visit OldGloryDepot.com today.
I say this every election cycle, and I'll say it again. The 2024 political field was intense, so don't get left behind in 2025. If you're running for office, the first thing on your to-do list should be securing your name on the web. With a yourname.vote domain from GoDaddy.com, you'll stand out and make your mark. Don't wait. Get yours today.
Welcome to another episode of Breaking Battlegrounds with your host Chuck Warren. I'm Sam Stone. Our first guest up today, Richard Paul Evans, a friend of the program and #1 best-selling author of The Christmas Box. Since then, he's written 41 consecutive New York Times bestsellers, with more than 35 million copies of his books in print in 22 languages. His newest novel, The Christmas Stranger, continues that tradition of heartwarming storytelling. You can find all his books at richardpaulevans.com. But Richard, how's the new book doing?
It's doing great. It just came out last week, and it hit number 5 on the New York Times bestseller list.
Oh my goodness!
Is that your fastest rise to the New York bestsellers list?
No. They usually come out pretty strong, but this list was so tough. My agent called me and said, you may not hit the list this time. Like, what? It's like, oh, there's monster books on there. And, I was hoping to just hit the list somewhere in the top 15, and to hit in the top 5 is pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's interesting he said that, though, because I feel, of course, I'm not working for you, but I feel you have a very loyal following. So when a book comes out, they're buying it, right? I mean, I bought it, I read it. It's on my checklist for Christmas. So, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of fans of your writing that just buy it every time you have a book out. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love my readers. I have such incredibly loyal fan base. One time a radio show, the guy attacked me I'm not sure why. He was kind of nasty. It's like, well, okay. And 3 days later, someone told me, he came on there and he goes, Richard Paul Evans fans, please leave me alone. Okay, I'm sorry. And then one of my books was banned, if you can believe that. And I found out later that 4 of my, it was banned by a large bookstore chain, and 4 of my readers were taken out of the stores by police.
Wait, but why would they ban you? Why would they ban you from a bookstore?
It was my story, The Last Promise. They thought it was inappropriate, and the person who banned it had never read the book.
Yeah, that seems to happen a lot now. Unsadly.
It was bizarre because it was international. It went international instead of saying they're sorry. They just doubled down, and so when the news came on, it's like she's never read the book. She thinks this, it's like they did a lot of damage with the bookstore chain and the person who did it, but.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Well, you have your new book, The Christmas Stranger, and right now number 5 on the New York Times bestseller list. Give our audience an overview of the book. Again, everybody, I loved it. I thought it was very sweet. I had tears at the end last night when I was reading it. Tell us about it and what gave you the spark to write this book.
The author Terry Brooks said, sometimes the magic happens. We go to work on a book and sometimes the magic happens. And this is one of those times. I always give everything I have to my books.
Sure.
Like Hemingway said, you just sit down at the typewriter and bleed. And that this one, when you read the book, so there's some turns, and it's really hard not to be, I don't want to give any spoilers, but when I got to the final turn, which no one has picked so far, that I've found out of thousands of readers, I wept. And I thought, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe that something so beautiful had come to me. And I thought, when this gets out there, people are going to have a really powerful experience because I'm sitting here crying over my computer. So when I first started it, I was, I struggle a lot with depression, and it's kind of a family genetic thing. And my mother actually attempted suicide 4 times. And during the time when I was writing this, I was really deep in it and just really struggling. And one night I went to walk my dog at midnight. And I just I was walking and I was just filled with such sadness. And I was praying while I was walking. It's like, why is this happening? Why do I have to battle this? And then suddenly I just broke down crying. I'm just sitting there crying. And it was bizarre because it's like I broke open at that moment, the book started pouring into my mind. And I saw it as clearly as a movie. And I went home and I wrote 5 chapters, clean chapters, just straight from that experience. And it starts out with a man who's thinking of taking his life. And after he has lost everything he loves, or the people he loves. And I didn't know where the story was going. I followed this inspiration and I kept thinking, this book is incredible. So this one's been really special. I mean, there's just magic to it.
Do you often get that kind of creative spark from your bouts of or battles with depression?
Well, you know how Southern writers, they're almost all alcoholics.
Right.
It actually made me think of Churchill, who was sort of famous for going into these, 1 or 2 week. He called it his black dog, but
His funks.
But he would come out of it with just this massive energy and ideas that he cultivated in that period. And I was kind of hearing some echoes of that almost.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's interesting because I've never thought of that. But I told my wife once, I said, Carrie, I write better when I'm depressed, when I'm fighting with
Is
this.
that because you're more interested? I mean, like, so the main character in this, Paul Wanlass, he's battling depression from a significant loss in his life. Does your experience dealing with that come out with Paul and how he reacted to things? His quick burst of anger to then, I'm very sorry for what I did, things of that nature.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. And the word Wanlass, of course, in Scottish means hopeless.
Oh, okay. That's
Similar.
fantastic. We're with Richard Paul Evans, the author of The Christmas Stranger. You can go to richardpaulevans.com and buy it. I highly recommend you do. Would you consider yourself, you had the term in the book, and it's not officially in the dictionary, but people use it. Would you consider yourself a Christmas file?
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, my wife has really deep OCD, and so Christmas, she can't stand the decorations out. So people say, "Is your house all Christmas?" And like I had an office and I had a Christmas tree up year round, and so my wife, bless her, she's lovely. She buys me all these nutcrackers, like they are in the books.
Okay.
That's how it started. So I have this incredible collection of nutcrackers, and that's about as far as she can go putting the nutcrackers out.
Do you have a favorite nutcracker? My mother used to collect those. That's a kind of an interesting.
Oh my gosh, it's the Winky Guard or the Flying Monkeys. I have
Interesting.
Wizard of Oz. It's cool, yeah.
What's your famous Christmas file fact? I have a new one after reading your book, but what's yours?
Good question. When I was writing this, I got a book attacked right to my site here about all these things about Christmas that are just surprises. Someone asked me if I knew all these things. I really don't have any fun facts. I just, other than I can't wait till the eggnog hits the shelf
Well-
because it's my favorite drink.
My favorite fun fact, Sam, in this book was who was the first Christmas song written by a female, Sam?
The first ever?
Yeah, first Christmas song written by a female.
Oh, I have no idea.
Little Drummer Boy. And who first recorded it?
I thought that was Bing Crosby.
Von Trapp family. From the Sound of
Really?
Music.
From
That is my Trivia Pursuit
Wow.
winning number, Paul.
Yeah, there's because he has all these facts. It's kind of a joke, like why some of the songs were written. One was written. Oh my gosh, what is it? it was written during the heat wave in Los Angeles. He says, I couldn't get cold. I didn't want
Right.
to get cold. So I wrote a song about being cold. People dressed up like Eskimos. And he goes, it cooled me off.
What's your favorite Christmas song?
Oh, I heard the bells.
Nice.
But when I'm writing this in like June, April, May, June, I listen, sometimes I just listen to Christmas music and light Christmas candles and just because I have to just get in the mode.
Yeah, that you need those here. Like living here in Arizona, I find I need the radio Christmas songs. I appreciate them because otherwise it doesn't feel very Christmassy when it's still 88 degrees and sunny.
Yeah.
We're with Richard Paul Evans, author of The Christmas Stranger. Richard, in the second segment, I want to talk about some quotes in the book and your philosophy on them. But you've had 8 books made into movies now. Is there interest in The Christmas Stranger from studios?
Absolutely. In fact, I talked to a producer yesterday who was just foaming at the mouth to get this. He goes, "Look, all your books are wonderful, but this one's special." I said, "Well, you kind of have to get in line because there's other." Ever since my those who have Netflix, if you've seen the movie Noel Diary,
Right.
With Justin Hartley, I know my movie did well because Justin Hartley is the most handsome man on the planet, and director Charles Shire is an incredible director. But the book was the number one, the movie was the number one streamed movie in the world the week after it came out. It was huge, and I got to tell you that was fun because everywhere I went in the country, people would somehow figure out I wrote the book, and to have hundreds of millions of people watch something you produced was really fun. So I've had 8 of them, but that was by far my favorite.
We got 2 minutes left in this segment, Richard. When you write a book, so when I was reading this book, I was trying to think of what actors or actresses could play the roles. Does that come into your mind when you write a book? Now that you've done so many, you've had 8 movies made, like, okay, I can see this actor playing Paul, this actress playing Colette, who's his love interest.
This is why I can't write books, because for about 15 years, my answer would have been Andy McDowell.
Does that happen to you, though, Richard?
By the way, I have an Andy McDowell story I'll tell you after.
Okay.
But no, it doesn't, actually. What I do go online and look for characters. So I just go on and pull up pictures, and then I'll put them up next to the computer. And just so I know what they look like, and I know who I'm talking to. So I do that. But the problem with getting an actor is then you're going to be caught into like, oh, now all of a sudden, like Lawrence Fishburne was very interested in starring in my last book, A Christmas Memory. And it's like, all of a sudden I would have been writing The Matrix into it. It would have been awful. so I don't think about actresses when I'm writing.
We're going to break here. We're going to be coming back with more in just a moment from Richard Paul Evans, friend of the program, #1 best-selling author. Folks, you can get his new book, The Christmas Stranger, at richardpaulevans.com/books. It is a fantastic read. I only got a few pages into it, and then I fell asleep last night. I got to admit the truth on this one. The problem with getting older, Chuck, it hits 9 o'clock, and it's like, okay, I'm ready to go to bed now. But we're coming back with more from him in just a moment here, and then you're definitely going to want to stay tuned because our next guest up today is going to be talking about all this brouhaha in Utah with redistricting there, a story I think a lot of people don't understand. So stay tuned for that. Breaking Battlegrounds coming right back.
All right, imagine this. You're running for president. Yes, president. What's the first thing you need? Well, besides the $1 million fundraising, you need to secure your web domain. You need your name, .vote. Easy to remember, straight to the point, and a direct link to your campaign. No, but seriously, whether you're getting out to vote or convincing people that yes, you can fix the potholes on Main Street, a .vote domain helps you stand out. It's not just a website, it's a call to action. Head over to GoDaddy.com or name.com, type in your name, .vote, and boom, you're ready to make a lasting impact. Get started today with your .vote web address.
Welcome back to Breaking Battlegrounds. We're continuing on now with Richard Paul Evans, #1 best-selling author of The Christmas Box, his new book, The Christmas Stranger continues the tradition of heartwarming storytelling. A little story about sometimes the universe it sends us exactly who we need. You definitely want to check that out at richardpaulevans.com/books. But Richard, before we went to break, you had something. I got to just dig in further. You have an Andy McDowell story. I had a 15-year crush, so I pretty much need this story.
Oh, you'll love this. Carrie and I were flying somewhere, and she was before the flight. She was upgraded to first class, so I was sitting in back, and she's up there in first class, and then suddenly the flight attendant comes back and goes, "Mr. Evans, we have room in first class, so come on up." So I go up and I slide in, and I realize in the seat next to me is Andy McDowell. And I said, "Wow, you look just like Andy McDowell." And she goes, "Yeah, I am." And we start talking, and I said, I'm an author, like I've had a lot of movies. We started talking about it. And then all of a sudden we were like laughing, and my wife keeps looking over at us. And I remember she said to me, she goes, "Oh, Richard, you should have seen me when I was young. I was something." I go, "Andy, you still are something." And we got up, my wife went and talked to me. She goes, "She liked you a little bit too much, I think."
Okay, I'm jealous.
I'm like, "You think? Really?"
Now you know Sam just thinks you should be in every movie. Okay. So you had some great quotes in the book that I thought were very introspective. And first one is, Paul wrote in his diary, "As I grow older, I find the concept of family more desired and less definable." How has that changed for you over the years, the definition of family?
Oh, your kids go as they grow up, and they move out. Yeah, I think I get a broader perspective of who they are and what it means to be a parent, and to give them the freedom to be who they are. And that was such a liberating thing to realize I'm not responsible for who they become. I just need to love them no matter what. And to see that has worked. Our kids, we're close to all of them. They love each other, and it's like I feel so blessed and lucky. But it also comes down to, in the end, it's like that matters so much more than anything else I'm doing.
Right.
So family has just become so large, and the extended family. Unfortunately, my kids have mostly married people who've been good to them, and that's what's important.
There's a point in the story where Gabriel, I'll call him an angel for our audience, to Paul, who's our main character, our protagonist, said, "You'd be surprised how strong humans can be when they forget themselves for the someone they love." How have you found that to be true over the years?
Completely true. And I think of some of the hardest times of my life, and how I became focused on just protecting my family. I think to me that's the most noble part of being a husband and father, is to be that protector.
Right.
And I've had experiences, including one time I was with the police. Someone had broken into my daughter's, when she was in college, into her dorm. Some creep. And all of a sudden we found him. This guy was twice my size, and
wow.
I tried to tackle him, and I didn't do so well. He was running from the police, so he was terrified. And it was interesting because afterwards, watching how the other people, the women, responded when they saw that, and I realized how much they really were hungry for someone who would be willing to put their life down, lay their life down to protect the people they love. But to me, that is my greatest calling.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a scene in the book where Colette, who's the love interest, works at a pharmacy, and Paul said he noticed most of her customers were elderly. And she says she preferred to think of them as vintage. And so all three of us who are on this interview right now are vintage characters. There's a quote I want to follow up on, says, "They say you don't know what you don't know, but as I get older," or in our case, guys, vintage, "I find that I don't even know half of what you think." Do you find that to be true as you've gotten older? Things that you were certain about that you're like less certain about, and other things you weren't certain about you're more certain about now?
Yeah, I mean, my son-in-law, he's very liberal. He and I'm very conservative. He said something. which kind of surprised me. He goes, yeah, when I'm your age, I'm sure I'll be conservative because, as they say, if you're young and Republican, you have no heart. If you're a Democrat when you're old, you have no brain.
Right.
And in there are things that I just, and I think God led me along. I mean, I was very much, I just thought those who are gay are just doing this. I just had this very unaccepting, and my daughter's gay, and it's like, but she was married, and she was married to a very abusive man. And when I found out, and we got her out of that marriage, and then she married a woman, or she started dating a woman, and it's like, whoa, how do I handle this? And I went and talked to her. I said, I don't know how to handle this because this is counter to my belief system. So I'll just tell you what I'll tell the guys, and that is, as long as you're good to my daughter, then we won't be enemies. And now I look back, and I'm absolutely in love with her partner. She's so
Right.
adorable and so sweet. And I thought, man, was I wrong?
Yeah.
I found out years later my agent is gay, and it's like, I was very wrong about this. And I was actually quoted in a gay magazine on the cover. It was interesting because they called me and said, you're quoted on the front page of this huge publication. What I said is, on the places where you're not sure which direction to go, the answer is always love.
You give me compassion. Yes.
Yeah.
You've been in politics. You've been in the book business. We've got 2 minutes left here. Reciprocity is a big deal in business, politics, book deals, I'm sure. But it's not the same with love, right? The difference between true love and, as you wrote, grace, it doesn't require reciprocity. Why do you think people don't understand that? When you love someone, all you want them to do is be happy. You're not expecting X in return.
I think they don't understand love. I think there's too much of a kind of narcissistic tendency to look at people as a means to an end instead of an end in itself. I think that's the beauty of parenthood. We had one child who was very, very difficult, and it kind of keeps you up at night. And I learned more about love through that experience than anything in my life, and about giving. And when I realized that, I would give my life for this child who may never tell me that he loves me, and as he got older, he did. And I remember the day he told me he loved me, I actually wept.
Well, it's like I have an autistic son, and he's 25 now, and you love him without expecting reciprocity, and you've just learned more and more how much deeper that love becomes, because he in return can't really give it, and it's been a fascinating learning curve with love.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing, and I like to think that's how, if you understand that that's how God loves us, it changes everything.
100%. 100%.
Absolutely. Richard Paul Evans, thank you so much for joining us once again. We always look forward to having you on the program. I'm guessing we might have you back with a new book next year.
I'm hoping so.
We got our fingers crossed.
And as 3 vintage gentlemen on the show, we're going to send Richard Paul Evans off with the Von Tropps on Little Drummer Boy. Richard, have a great Christmas, buddy.
And thank you very much, guys.
Take care.
Old Glory Depot isn't just a website. It's a movement. Featuring unapologetically conservative shirts and gear, we're proud to deliver 100% American-made products. From premium materials to bold designs, every purchase supports American jobs and celebrates our country. Show your pride, support your values, and shop oldglorydepot.com, because patriotism never goes out of style.